Welcome, welcome, welcome. Welcome back. Here we are. We're kicking off season two. Can you believe it? Season two. We took a little time off. We had to decompress, and we're back. Speaking of decompressing, very good topic that I want to talk about tonight, and it's all about that the decompression. We are facing shortages. We're asking people to do more with less. People are feeling stressed. People are feeling overworked. People are feeling the burnout. People are feeling like they're reaching that ceiling. That mental health is an important topic in our field right now. And I just wanted to touch a little bit on it just so we can find out what do we do as an industry, sterile processing and healthcare. How do we reach those employees that feel like they can't talk about it? It's taboo to have mental health issues. It's a stigma around asking for help. How do we get them to understand that we're here for them? Let's answer some of those questions. Let's dive into the facts of why, who, the what. I have a couple of special guests that are just going to help us, get to the bottom of some of those unanswered questions, and maybe, if we can just reach one person and give them a sense of, hey, we're here for you. Maybe we've done our part to get that person to just make sure that we understand we're here for you, we're in your corner, and that person can reach somebody, or that person's story can inspire somebody else, and that person's story can inspire somebody, and maybe just then they'll see that help is on the way and we are here for our employees. I'm going to invite somebody in, and then I have a very special guest that I'm going to bring in a little bit later just to let's break the ice on this thing. I have a friend of mine. She's been here before. I'm inviting Tani in right now so we can just have a brief conversation about mental health in the workplace. Hi, Tani. How are you? Tani, I can't hear you. I know you're on vacation and everything.
Can you hear me now?
I can hear you. I can hear you now.
Yeah, I said, hey, I'm doing great. Thank you for asking. You're absolutely right. I'm on vacation, preventing any mental health challenges from breaking through.
Hey, and that's just it. Sometimes we do have to, get away just to make sure that we're keeping our sanity and making sure that we can take that time off when we can. With us
Right.
being in this work shortage and having, like as I said, we're asking people to do less. How do
Yeah.
we how do we how do we those type of waters when you have those workplace shortages? As we say, we were going through the Great Resignation. You had
Right.
have people leaving at a great pace, and the work cases didn't stop. The
Right.
surgeries were still coming through. The trades were still coming down to SPD, and the people that stayed behind and said, "Hey, this is my life. This is my livelihood." We
Yeah.
still had to reprocess that stuff. We were still in there day and night, still going through the same challenges. How do you how do you navigate those waters? How do you tell them it's okay to be okay?
Right. That is the question. That is it's a tough question. Um, when I actually came into the field, it was kind of during the thick of it, honestly, and it's always seemed since that point to be a lot. So that is a really good question. Um, I have something I think people don't really even consider, but dealing with somebody who was in the thick of it not too long ago was just even the recommendation of, hey, at our location, at our company, we have employee assistance program. It was as simple as an 800 number, a number you could call to start talking through, hey, the challenges, the overwhelmingness to make up a word of our field. So, one step could be the employee assistance program, a phone call, a line dedicated to talk through, hey, what's going on, and it's okay to say I'm having these challenges. I think that's a private way someone could start, with that phone call. Um, a private way to get it going, to somebody feel comfortable to say anonymously, I'm struggling.
Now, and with that being said, I've been doing, when I decided that this would be the kickoff show for season two, I did some research, and one of the main things that people were saying that is a stigma
Hmm.
around saying that I have a mental health issue, or as they stated, breaking the stigma of mental illness. Um,
Right.
when you have people who are unwilling, if you will, to say there's something mentally wrong or there's something mentally going on, that phone call is harder than you think. The
Right.
EAP, you're right, the EAP is always there. The employee assistance program is there. Even just them coming to the director's office or the manager's office, that's the simple, you're right, that's the simple answer is, hey, that first step is saying, hey, something is wrong. I have an
Mhm.
issue that I need to talk to somebody. We as leaders, how do we navigate that part? Just one of the things I researched, and it said 80%, 86% of employers stated that mental health, stress, and burnout is still a high priority in a lot of organizations.
Mhm.
But how do you break the stigma if you can't even get people to say, I have an issue?
Understood. And I wonder if I use the term simple a lot, so I don't really mean like, oh, it's simple. It's just a phrase I kind of say, kind of like saying
Right, right.
but I wonder if addressing, as leaders, addressing our entire group with, we have this program just in case, as opposed to the one-on-one, you need this or you need that, or even things like disclosing, you guys, I think this is a good day to bring in the massage chair or the masseuse, because I'm experiencing, it's a lot of work, and I'm experiencing this heavy load, this heavy stress, and what we've brought in for you, I'm just giving out the ideas, but what we've brought in for you is you have to take this 10 minutes and relax, and you know what I'm saying, like to make it kind of something available to everyone to start that de-stressing component, and then introducing potential options, like I'm saying, the employee assistance number, after introducing some other measures to start with the de-stressing and the decompressing, and then for those having maybe deeper issues, sharing that information, as I just said. um I don't know the way 100% of how to destigmatize what's been put in us for so long, that um
Yeah,
mental health illness is a challenge, and or it's a negative,
it's
so I
funny
don't
that
know
you,
how to 100%.
it's funny
Go
that you
ahead.
it's funny that you say that because even just say like for me, I've invited the wellness group in and
Mhm.
they come and did hand massages. They've done aromatherapy. They've done Reiki. They've done all these things to try to lighten the load on the staff to just to say, hey, we're here for you from the wellness standpoint, just to be just to say we know you're dealing with the workload. We know
Mhm.
you're going through these things, but we are still here for you in that aspect.
Yeah.
So, uh, family, you're not gonna believe this. I can't believe it myself. I know I speak of you know miracles in the flesh when I say when we speak of all things sterile processing,
Yeah.
when we speak of knowledge, when we speak of, you know, greatness, when we speak of, I, how can you say it? But Miss Sharon Greene Golden is here. You know, I can only say this to say I attended the conference this year and I heard her speak about this very issue, and I invited her here to, give insight to those that missed her speech. I know that she gave a very good, speech about it, and I wanted her to like touch on a little bit of that because, like I said, it is important to what we're doing. Uh, as me and Tony were talking about, doing more with less
Yeah.
and how to deal with some of that. Um, Poor mental health and stress can negatively affect every employee's performance,
Mm-hmm.
um, what they come into every day, and it's repetitive. The workload isn't getting lighter, and people aren't applying. Unfortunately, I have, and me dealing with it myself, I have FTEs that I'm not filling. There are travelers, yes, but your own permanent employees, it's hard to get. So
Yeah.
cases are still being added, and we're still doing the same things. And one of the points I know that Ms. Green Golden alluded to at conference is how do you how do you not recognize when your employees are going through something? How do
Mm.
you expect the same? How do you keep that high level of work performance when you're going through something?
Yeah.
Good evening.
Hey, Miss Golden, how are
Yeah.
you?
I'm fine. So, first of all, thank you. Thank you for inviting me. I actually just got home a little while ago because we seem to be working off the chain. Uh, the biggest thing is you have to know your audience. Your
Yeah,
audience, when you are managing a department, are the people that you manage. You
Mm-hmm.
have to know them inside out. You have to know their nuances. You have to know when Lucy comes in, her eye rolling to the left, something wrong, because her eye usually rolling to the right. You have to be able to see that, to feel that. We can no longer manage people
Yeah.
and work with people and have them in a down spot and not notice it. You so busy trying to get busy trying to do the day-to-day duties for the sterile processing, which is our job, but our job cannot be done without people.
right.
So
Mm-hmm.
it's letting the team know as a group it's okay to not be okay. Now, we
Mm.
can't all be bad on the same day. Okay.
Right.
Right.
You have to lay some ground rules. Um, as I always say, you have to know the rules of engagement. But what I have noticed since COVID is that COVID took a lot out of people
Mm-hmm.
because most of I'll talk about my teammates, worked two jobs.
Mm-hmm.
At my hospital, they were never laid off. We never missed a day. We never missed a beat because my motto is there's always something to do in sterile processing. I don't know about the rest of the hospital, but we always have work to do. If it's FIFOing, reprocessing trays, taking trays down and checking them, taking instruments out, we have work to do. But with COVID at my hospital, we had the added job of having to wrap our heads around processing N95 mask, which was not in
Yes.
my wheelhouse.
Yes. Yes.
So there was a balancing act going there because I did a lot of reading on the EUAs. I did a lot of reading with the process. And then I had to make a decision. Are we willing to do this before my hospital even said yes?
Mm-hmm.
I actually went to Battelle, which was the company that we used to do the hydrogen peroxide processing of our N95s. I went to the place before they ever opened. I spent hours there watching the process, watching the documentation, so that I could come back and effectively tell my team, this is what we're going to do. Now, you may say, what does that have to do with anything? People were staying at home, working from home, not working at all. And look at it this way. Mentally, we had to get up every day and go to work.
Right.
True.
We didn't get to say, I'm working from home. I'm going to do my
Right.
N95s in the kitchen.
Right.
You
Right.
understand? So we had people who were coming to work despondent because they left people at home every day that
Right.
they felt was doing nothing but watching television, playing games, and eating popcorn. Mentally, that wears on you. You know, mentally. And then some of them, their second jobs went away. So here you are. I'm up here in the DMV in a 2-bedroom apartment with 6 or 8 people paying $3,500 a month, and part of the income has been disposed of. You can't be mentally okay. And so as the manager, it was my job to watch my teammates and to encourage them when needed, because they had PTO. I'd say, you know, you take tomorrow off. You take Wednesday and Thursday off.
Right.
Mary Lou, you take Friday and Monday off. We rotated days off so that they could have time at home, because I could see in their body language, they weren't okay. And you cannot effectively manage a group of people who aren't okay. That's worse than saying you herding cats. You can't herd cats because none of them go the same direction.
Right.
That is worse. And so I sat there with a group of people who had, some of them had dead eyes. They came to work and went through the motion, and they didn't do a good job. So now I've got people with dead eyes. I've got people who are depressed. And I've got patients, we didn't have as many, but I've got patients who came to the hospital amidst COVID because they had physical problems that they needed surgery. And our job is that we work for the patient.
That's right.
And we're to do the same level of patient care every day, whether it's COVID, whether it's, now we're calling it Mpox, whether it's the bird flu coming through. We're to give the same level of care to our patients. But if you are dealing with people who are mentally not there, in this day and age, you have to wonder, did they also bring their 45 Glock? You have to watch how you talk. You have to watch how you walk. You have to watch how they walk, watch how they talk, because you have to balance people mentally.
Right.
And people are hurting. People in sterile processing do not, and I said it in the meeting, they don't have work-life balance. They have work balance. Work balance. They're working job 1, working job 2, taking care of the house, job 3. They don't have work-life balance.
So you're really just saying, as leaders, we have to really keep an eye on our folks,
Yes.
and then kind of take charge and force them.
Well, you have to keep eyes on your people, and you have to let me just say, the world is a stage. You're all good actors and actresses if you want to be. You have to tread lightly, and if the people that you deal with know you care, they will share. If they know you care, they will share. You bring them in the office, you sit them down, you bring out the tissue. I don't want to know your business. I just want you to know that I'm here to help you get help. Now, I took a course and became an adult mental health first aider, which means that I learned to look for signs of depression in people. I'm not diagnosing nothing. But if I think one of my people is a little sad, I'm going to get them some help. Now, of course, hospitals or medical places have the EAP.
Right.
That may not always be the right way to go. I happen to work for a faith-based organization We have chaplains running around all day long. I send them to go see the chaplain, go see the priest, go wherever you got to go and talk to someone who doesn't have a horse in the race. I have a horse in the race. I don't want to know. I don't want to know what's wrong with you. I just want you to know that I know something is wrong and I want you to get some care.
I think that's amazing.
And
Can
Ms.
I ask
Golden,
you one? I'm sorry, Kenneth. I just want to ask one more question. Like, as a leader, though, where do the leaders go? Like, so you're looking out for your folks, but what about you as a leader? What about them? What do we do for them
So most of the
or for
time,
ourselves?
if you are, I'm not going to say that, most of the time, you should be doing self-care on yourself always anyway.
Okay.
You shouldn't get yourself down in the hole. You can't help nobody if you in the hole.
Okay.
So if I'm depressed, I can't help Kenneth because my head hanging to the side.
Okay.
Kenneth's head hanging to the right, mine hanging to the left. We can't help each other. But if I have self-care and I'm willing, I'm transparent. I'm very transparent. I stood up in front of my people a week ago, 2 weeks ago, before I went to Barcelona and said, I'm going to Barcelona for a week. When I come back, I need y'all to get yourself together because I'm not okay. What's going on in this department? I'm not okay. And if I'm not okay, you're not going to be okay.
Okay.
So being able to, and what I'm saying is being able to say, I'm not okay, allows them to say, me neither. You know, because we all put on that face of, I'm good, I'm strong, all's good. All ain't good. All isn't good. I'm not okay. I'm being stressed. I'm being stressed because I have taught you all how to do things right. You're adults. You're certified. You got 20 certifications behind your name, and you insist on doing things wrong. And I insist on you doing them right. So either you're going to have to do them right, or I have to do what I don't like to do, is to help you get off my team. But I've now got to get you off my team calmly because I don't want you to come with your Glock.
Right,
Kenneth? After I get you off the team, you come back with the gun and shoot everybody. So I've got to do this in a way that it's, number one, your idea. And what I tell people, that I say, I've done this 35 years. I have never fired anybody. I have helped people leave. I've written their resignations form and I have accepted them. But I've never fired anybody. What I tell you is that you were not willing to do what I ask you to do in this job that's covered under your job description. Therefore, you are giving your job up, and that's okay.
So back to, like, just so I know you said, like, if you bring them in the office and you tell them that you are just you're willing to listen, and we were saying before you came on, like, breaking that stigma of being able to have that conversation, saying that, hey, I have a problem, or saying that mentally I'm not okay. Like you said, I can stand and you can stand in front of your team and say, hey, I'm not okay. What about the people that can't do that? Like, I had one person just say they weren't allowed to go home. They got sent to another department to work. They, like, if they had nothing in their department saying sterile processing was closed, they got sent somewhere else to work. That they didn't have those mental health, like there was nothing. They got sent somewhere else, so they never had that break. So they're not okay to say they're weren't given a position to say I need this time, or the mental health days weren't there.
So let me straighten something out. We didn't have mental health days. I just told people to take their PTO and go home. That we didn't have mental health days. We worked every day for COVID 2020 from the time March until, and we still aren't over COVID because every day I hear the report, we're getting more and more patients in the hospital. We're going the opposite direction right now. We have 45 COVID patients in our hospital right now. So we didn't get a mental health day. Now, Kenneth, I think it's all in how I watched the Cosby Show one time. He talked about It's about where the daughter brings the boyfriend. She doesn't tell nobody about the fiance. She shows up at the table with the fiance. They looking at him crazy. And at the end of the day, what the dad says is, she says, you all don't like him. He says, it's not about liking him. You presented him on a garbage can top. So we're taking him as garbage. It's all in how you present it. What I have to do is present to my team. Yes, we're working every day, but you have a job. I heard a lot of hospitals say they laid people off. So let's let's get to the board and write down what's good about this place. We never missed a check. So if you had to go to the cafeteria and put a scoop of soup in a bowl and 2 crackers and take it to room 22B, you're getting paid by the hour. You're getting paid by the hour. And it's a little easier than being in Deacon. I'm going to go put some soup in the bowl and put some crackers.
Right.
And find happiness in what I'm doing. But you as the manager, you as the supervisor have to sell it.
I'm telling you that.
I told my team didn't get pulled, but people in the operating room did. And I want you to know, when they sat down and said, you don't have to go work up on floor 22B, you can go home, but you won't be getting paid. People started putting on kitchen uniforms. Folks was able to go and get a broom. We could mop, because at the end of the day, we have families to take care of. True. Right. So we already stressed. We got families we taking care of, families you couldn't see. I couldn't see my mother down in Georgia. And people dying left and right. Where I am in SPD on first floor, we would watch the gurney go by with the dead bodies, all day long. You look up, there'd be a dead body rolling by. That's depressing within itself.
Right.
That you're in a healing place, and instead of healing, it looks like we were losing the battle. But for the employees, it's all about finding that space where you say, you know what? I woke up this morning and I couldn't hardly bring myself to work. Have you ever seen one of your employees come in and they have that dead look about themselves, and they come in, and what human beings do is we pick on somebody else because I want it all for me. So I will do something or say something to you to put it on to you. Then I, as the manager, am the referee, and I'm the one that has to come and say, we're not doing that today. What's wrong? It's okay to ask people what's wrong. And yes, in the African American people of color communities, we don't put the big sign around our neck that says, I'm depressed. Right. Because don't nobody want to hear about that. And I was raised where my parents told us, what happens at 224 5th Street, you better keep it in there. Don't you go share with nobody. Don't you tell nobody.
So in that aspect, right. So in that aspect, when you got people who bottle that up and then they come to work, and one of the, negative effects is that communication with the coworkers is affected, your physical capabilities and your daily functions is affected. Mm-hmm. What do you do in that scenario? Like you said, you got to recognize it. Mm-hmm. As a leader. You're supposed to recognize that, and then you know that it's not the normal of that person. Mm-hmm. But then when you set them down, they're not admitting to, as you say, what happens at home, you're not supposed to say. Right. They're not going to admit that something's going on at home because they can't say that. They can't say that. So
and they're going to sit in your office and they're going to say, nothing's wrong. I'm okay. It's nothing. And you sitting there going, oh no, something's wrong. You're not okay. Now that we've settled that part, we don't have to talk about that anymore. What are we going to do to help you be okay so that you can work effectively? We no longer talk. We're not fishing in the pool of lies, because you know you're not okay. I know you're not okay. The team knows you're not okay. And we're concerned because we want you to be okay. And I am very transparent. I don't need nobody going and bringing their knives in their pocketbook, bringing your guns to work. I want you to come to work feeling free to work. And I don't want to have to worry about you may come and snap today. So you're not okay. And I am, number one, we got some choices. You can go sit and talk to a chaplain. You want to go talk to a chaplain? You want me to call EAP and get you lined up? Tell me what you want to do, but you're going to do something because you're not okay.
So yeah, I really think like we may be getting ready to ramp up some more with all the, with new strains of COVID, with RSV and things like that. And I mean, I really think that when we come back from commercial, we should really dive into those three things you just suggested. I am on vacation so that I can stay okay. I'm gonna actually check out of here when we go to commercial. But I'm gonna listen to hear what those responses would be. Again, those ideas you just listed.
So
Looking
yeah, we're gonna go to
forward.
commercial. When we
Thanks for
come
having
back,
me.
we'll be right. Thank you, Tony. Thank you.
Thanks. Okay.
We'll be right back. Thank you, Miss Golden. Right before she left, she did bring up some important things. Okay, um, as you were saying, they have to choose something. They can't say, I'm fine, there's nothing. We notice that those behaviors aren't normal. What can we do to help understand those stigmas? We know that some of it's cultural,
Mm-hmm.
some of it is just people being stubborn. I guess I don't know how to get around that. Like they come to work, they do their job. Some you see the pattern. We know when they're fine, everything works smoothly, but we do recognize when something's off. Like you said, on a normal day, they roll their eyes to the right, but when something's wrong, they roll their eyes to the left. We know something is wrong. You set them down. Hey, there's nothing going on. But as a leader, you can recognize it. How can we help? How can we break that stigma? And what actions can we do to overcome it? Like you
Well,
said, you suggested EAP and stuff like that, but if they don't accept that help.
so one thing about working in the healthcare system is some things you have a choice to accept and some things you don't. So I give you the choice uh, to freely go during your work time. This isn't even your break. I'm going to give you the time to go and spend with the chaplain. I'm going to give you the time to go and to EAP. The thing about EAP, Kenneth, is that people think it's a mark on their work record. They think if you send them to EAP, it shows up that the person that they're talking to calls the manager and says, let me tell you what's wrong with Sharon. No, there's HIPAA rules there, and they cannot share with me anything that you've shared with them. It is a professional visit. What I tell the team is that you have to talk to someone. Apparently, you can't talk to the people at your house. You don't want them to know what's wrong. You're in here disrupting the department. You cannot disrupt the department because we've got work to do. We've got patients that depend on us doing our job. Therefore, I need for you to go and spend some quality time just with the psychologist, psychiatrist. I don't even know what you're doing in there. Sometimes I'm told that they just go and just sit and they don't say nothing. Visit 1, visit 2. But the bottom line is that a lot of these issues did not just start with COVID. People were messed up way before COVID. Let's just be real about it. COVID brought it to the light. People started talking about it, right? Prominent, famous people started saying, hey, I got a mental problem. And then the little calm regular people say, well, I got one too. So we've started coming out of hiding, saying I have a problem. I'm depressed. I shared that I was depressed at a point in my life. I could not pick my head up off the pillow. I just couldn't. And I'm a strong person. I've been through a lot in my life. But the fact that I couldn't pick my head up off the pillow and that nobody around me noticed that I couldn't get my head off the pillow was just sad. And so I had to call the community service board for myself. Of course, I was blessed that I knew what the steps were. I called and said, I need help. I need help. I don't know what I need help with, but I can't get my head off the pillow. And the first thing of course, they ask you is, are you suicidal? No. For me, I'm not suicidal. Who I am, who I was raised to be, the religious denomination that I affiliate myself with does not accept suicide, but I can kill you. And that's what I told her, because I could get repented. So I ain't gonna kill myself, but I might kill some people. I think my words were, I'm trying to buy Uzis on eBay. She said, get yourself in here. We need to get you some help. Now, the thing about help is that help is not immediate. And that's
Right.
We're a world of immediacy, right? I want to go talk and feel better, be well today. You didn't get sick all in one day.
Right.
9 months to birth a baby. You didn't get sick in one day. We didn't get fat in one day, but we want to get skinny in one day. I want to get my mental health cleared up in one day. No, we got to talk about some things. We've got to find out, why do you feel you can't get your head off the pillow? You know, and you have to be willing to share. And that's not something people easily do. It takes time. And I'm willing to give my people time. You know, you can't use, and as I said, all of us can't go to see the psychiatrist on the same day. We got to pick a day, pick a week, and say who's going, who's not going. Excuse me, just a minute. Excuse me, Coco. Hold up a minute.
No problem. But yeah, just as she stated, that it's not an easy fix. It does take time to get to the bottom of these situations. Mental health is an important thing. It's not a magic pill. The help that you seek, the help that we try to help you get, we want you to take advantage of the situations. If we refer you to somebody, just know that there's multiple visits. There's not a one visit that's going to say it's magically going to be gone that day. That's what she's alluding to. One visit is not going to fix the issue. It's going to be multiple visits. You go in there with your problem that day doesn't mean that problem magically goes away. That's what she's trying to say.
You know, Kenneth, most people don't even know what the problem is.
Right.
Right? It
Right.
takes 6 weeks to figure out what the problem truly is, because we've covered it up so much. We got so much. I thought the problem was I didn't like the way Mary looks at me in the morning. It has nothing to do with Mary. It has to do with the fact that I am in debt up to my eyeballs, and I haven't been able to figure out how to get out of debt, even though I'm working 2 jobs every day, and I'm frustrated, and I have to come to work. And when I come to work, you're pushing me to produce, right? Because when they come to work, we're like, come on. We got to get these trays done. We got to get these trays clean. We got to put these trays together. We got to get these loaners done. And so you're pushing me over the edge. And I just think that it's Kenneth that's bothering me. But that's not even what it is. It takes time to sit down and talk about. That's why you hear on the shows where the psychiatrists and the psychologists, they talk about how they take you back to your childhood and find out that your problem is the day that the dog chased you down the street and bit you and you had to go have surgery on your leg. You've never gotten over that. and you've carried that in your suitcase all your life, and you've piled more things on top of that. And now the suitcase has flown open and you have a lot of issues.
Right. So
the problem is that we bring those issues to work. And if we bring them to work, we cannot be productive employees. Because I'm sitting there thinking, I don't know about you, but I notice my employees, because they are allowed to have their cell phone. Every time I look up, somebody got their cell phone. I've walked down the hall. People can't even see you walking because everybody's got their eyes in their cell phone. They can't even function. I left mine at home one day by mistake. They were like, "You didn't go back and get it?" I'm like, "No, I'm from the old school. We didn't always have a cell phone. If you really want me, you'll find me later in the day or send a smoke signal or something. I'm not turning around to go get no telephone." But we can't even function without a phone. We're tied to the phone. You know, I went in one day and every station, just about everybody had their phone out and everybody was listening to a different song. I'm like, what is this? Y'all can't be enjoying the song because you can't really hear what it is. You can't hear yours because I'm playing mine. I can't hear mine because you playing yours. We're going to go to one song. Figure out what song we want to listen to, what artist we want to listen to, and that's it for today. We're not going to have all these songs playing. They can't have earbuds in their ear. But some places allow people to have earbuds in their ear. But it's all about being able to recognize. I had an employee that I talk about that I watched her change. She couldn't even remember Kenneth. She's been there the longest. She couldn't even, I said, do we have 4 Omni tracks? I don't know. Yes, you do know. You're the only one that does know. What you mean you don't know? I don't know. And I said to her privately, something is wrong. Now you can't even focus and remember the things that just rolled off your tongue effortlessly, right? You need some help. And when she did get help and she started getting help, she came back and she said, "Thank you. Thank you. I needed that. Thank you." Because they don't want to talk to us. And Kenneth, I don't want anybody to talk to me. I got my own problems. I can't take yours with me.
True.
Right? So please don't tell me that your dog is sick and dying, because now I got to worry about your dog. I got my own dog I got to worry about. So the bottom line is that being able to let people know I care, I want you to get help, but I can't help you. That's not my specialty, right? My specialty is to help you get some help. I can't help you. Therefore, I don't want you to unburden all of your issues on me, because there I will then become depressed.
Right.
I can't get up in the morning. Why? Because I know I got to come and be with Kenneth, who's going to tell me some more problems. And I don't want to hear your problems. I just want us to be able to function and do our job according to the best practice and take care of our patients while being mentally healthy. And I'm willing to stand up in front of anybody and say, in my SPD, I have people who have mental issues. And on some days, that's me.
Okay. So today I had an employee say, and she wanted me to bring this up to you just so we can clear it up. The culture of a department, if there's favoritism or if said person been there years and they don't do certain assignments and things like that, causes anxiety, causes depression amongst the department, that kind of depression, how do you go about changing that type of depression? Because that's a cultural thing. Similar to this question here, it said, one of the things I've gone through in Central Stera is unequal preferential treatment and unfair practices. How can you combat that in your department? That causes depression, that causes mental health things. Like how do you challenge that when it's that department? It's a cultural thing.
Well, I don't think that preferential treatment of people and unfair practices is a cultural thing. I think that's a person thing. And if you're a manager, you're wrong. I am very transparent and I stand on fairness. What's good for the goose is good for the gander. There is no seniority when it comes to getting the job done. For instance, I have young ladies in my department who are still in childbearing age and they having children. We have no light duty in SPD. In my SPD, there's no light duty. But working in the low temperature sterilization section is a little easier. We agree? You're doing camera scopes. That's not so bad.
Right.
I cannot stand up and say, Kenneth is going to work in the low temperature sterilization area because he's pregnant. That's illegal. That's wrong. What I can do as the manager for that shift is bring everybody together and say, listen, we all know that Kenneth right now needs a little help. We're a team. He really can't lift the 25-pound trays up and down, over. So do we agree? Do you want to agree that we're going to put Kenneth in the low temperature sterilization area every day for the next 4 weeks until he's better? And it has to be unanimous. Everybody must agree. And then I say, we want to think about it and be fair because you never know when it's your day. I'm fair. When it's your day, I will stand up here and say, Sharon needs to be in the low temperature sterilization area. We all need to agree. You have to be fair. There should be no preferential treatment. People will tell you that I'm an equal opportunity wolf or fox. I eat everybody up. I tell people who have wanted to come and work for me or with me, who know me, no, you can't work with me because I'm going to have to eat you up every day because I'm not going to treat you special. If it's wrong for you, it's wrong for me. And I think that managers and supervisors who set that standard of treating people different, they do cause people angst and cause them to have issues, but we have to, at some point, be strong enough to follow the rules of engagement and report that. I'm not going to sit there and be depressed because you treating Mary better than you treating me. I'm going to report it. Silence means you agree. So you can't be silent in your depression and think it's going to get better. You have to let it out. So how do I combat it in my department? I think if you came to my department, they would tell you, Miss Golden is fair. She's fair. She told me no. She told them no. And she gonna when you go in there, she gonna tell you no. Because I don't want them coming to me with their little secret notebooks telling me that on the 5th day of March, I let Kenneth go to lunch for an hour, but I won't let Mary go for the lunch for an hour. Because you know they keep notes. They have little notebooks. And they can come and read it back to you. And so I want them to read back to me, you didn't let anybody go to lunch for an hour. That you made John work decon for 30 days and you made Mary work decon for 30 days. You're equal. So it's all about being equal and fair because you're dealing with people. And when you deal with people differently in this day and age, Ken, if you're setting yourself up, you don't know when these people may be waiting on you outside by your car. You don't know what day they're going to snap. You don't know one day when they're going to have it up to here. As my mother used to say, I've had it up to here. If I go here, it's on. They walk that thin rope of being fair while being transparent. I leave everything out on the table. I have no secrets. They know me. Your people know you, right? They know you. So if I say the rule is you must request the holiday 6 months in advance, that's the rule. Well, I didn't know my family at the last minute. My family said we all gonna go to Chicago for Christmas. No, we all not going because you won't be there. You didn't request it according to the rules.
Right.
You know, and I've had people say, but I got to go out. No, you didn't follow the rules. Now, I'm also a mediator. So I'll say, well, Kenneth has the time off. Go and talk with Kenneth and see if he's willing to switch with you. Because that's the only person you can switch with. You didn't do what you needed to do, but I'm not switching you. You need to go find somebody that's willing to cover your shift or whatever it is. But according to the rules, I'm not doing it. So it's knowing what is right, being willing to do what's right, whether it's popular or not.
Right.
And it's never popular. Because people only want what's good for them, right, Kenneth? I only care that you give me the holiday off. I don't care that nobody else got the day off. It's just like when people call out sick. They know that you got 150 loaner trays coming in, and that's the day they take to be sick. Well, they all right with that until they're at work and I take the day off because it's 150 trays. Now they want to come and discuss. Do you realize Sharon took the day off? Well, you just took the day off 2 weeks ago. It was okay when you took it.
Right.
You know, so somehow we're going to get it done. If that's the game we're going to play. So you have to call a horse in the public. You know, I tell people, I bring people in my office, Kenneth, and I talk to them about things they've done wrong. And I say, I'm going to talk to you about this. This is what you did wrong. This is not how we do it. And then I say one of my famous sayings I learned as a child: a hit dog will holler. Now I'm going to go out to the team meeting and I'm going to talk about this particular issue. I'm not calling no names. I'm not calling no dates. And if you don't act like a hit dog, nobody will know it's you. Right. I'm telling you first so that you don't feel like I'm out telling your business. It's not your business. This has to do with patient care. This has to do with doing a tray correctly. I'm going to go and mentor everybody how to do this tray correctly, but I've mentored you privately to let you know you were the one that made the mistake that we don't want to have anymore. And if you don't sit there and roll your eyes and let your neck go to shaking and you say, wait, they'll never know it was you. And my team, I think, appreciates that. Because when I go out and I start talking about what's wrong, I never say who, when, or what, or where. And as long as they sit over there, I say, everybody look like I didn't do it. I didn't do it. Because when things go wrong, nobody did it. You know, it's one of the hardest things to find out. At least with the computer, I can tell who put the tray up. But the bottom line is when you say it, everybody says, oh, that wasn't me. Right. I had a tray today with one of my team leaders. And she was like, I don't know. It couldn't have been me because I put this tray up all the time and I always have all my pieces. I said, but you didn't have them today.
Right.
You may have all of your pieces, but you didn't have them today. And today you caused us angst because we had to go and scramble and hop for that patient. The patient, that's who we work for. That's who pays our salary, the patient. And you're working against the patient by not having that tray complete. And don't sit here and tell me that you had all the pieces. I just started off with your tray was missing these pieces. So we don't have to discuss that. You know.
They got a question. They got a question for you. They say, how does the fair treatment connect to the mental health?
Well, I think that in the world today, when you're treating people equally and fairly within the job, it decreases their ability to say, I'm depressed because of my job. It allows them to say this, to sit back and say, it's not my job. Because on the job, we're all treated equal. On the job, if I come in and put in my 8 hours, my check I get paid 8 hours. On the job, if I do the job right, Miss Golden does not bother me. She doesn't write me up. I don't have any problems. Nothing goes wrong because I'm on the job and I'm doing what's right. So mentally, the job is not what's bothering me. Maybe having to come to a job bothers me, but treating people, this is just my belief, treating people as human beings, treating people as equals, right? I may be the manager, but I'm their equal. Treating people fairly allows people not to put the burden on it's the job, because it's not the job. And for me, it's not the profession, because the people I work with have been doing this, Kenneth, for some of them for 20, 30 years, 15. This is their profession. So it's
Right.
not the profession that's bothering me. It may be some of the people within the profession because it has changed. We have different work ethics. And as the manager, I have to be able to take those work ethics and make them work. And what I have found, Kenneth, for me, is that I am getting ready to retire because I don't want to play the game anymore. I am tired. I have a generation that I have to answer 9,000 questions to before they can put a tray together. Why, 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 why? And the tray still didn't put together. You ask Kenneth 2 weeks ago. Well, Kenneth always has a tray he's putting together. You don't never have one. If I don't ask you, you seem to be just standing around. I have a few people that are just happy they came to work. Do you have any of them in your department? They'd be so proud. I'm at work.
Yeah.
You say, well, could you do some work? I'm glad you came to work. Thank you. Now, can you put a tray together? Why I got to go to Deacon Tam? Because it's your turn? But we got a lot of loaner trays today. Okay, but yesterday when it was Marriage Day, you didn't have a problem with the loaners. So the bottom line is I have a group that I have to say, put the tray together. Why, Miss Golden? Because I need the tray put together. Well, Miss Golden, why didn't you ask Kenneth? Because Kenneth is putting the tray together. But Miss Golden, you asked me yesterday because you weren't putting the tray together yesterday either. But Miss Golden, I was over here putting some seal peel together, but we didn't need the seal peel. We need the tray put together. Instruments do the patients no good until they're actually reassembled correctly, checked for cleanliness, checked for workability, and processed. So if you have a set of trays that's put together, but they're not in a sterilizer, they don't do anybody any good. So I got a group of people that like to look at their work. They do 10 trays, they stack it up. Do you have any of them? And they sit back and say, look at all the work I did. And I'm like, I need that work in the autoclave. And so it's being able to balance that. It is hard. It's not an easy job. Managing people is hard. Managing yourself is hard enough, but managing other people and their idiosyncrasies, their nuances, in my area, Kenneth, they're the diversity of cultures. I have people from everywhere, but technically I laugh and say America. Because every time I talk to them, I got to go home. You going home? Nigeria, Bolivia, Malaysia, Haiti, Jamaica, Ghana, Ethiopia, India, Mexico. And now I tell them I'm from Wakanda. So we all got somewhere we need to go. And everybody got a different set of rules and what they think is right in their culture. I have men from the continent of Africa who do not believe in women being in charge. That's a hard one to roll with. I had one guy, I had to help him leave my department because his name was actually King. King wanted to be the king, and I kept telling him I was Charles in charge. So we had a battle until I set him down and said, no, we're not going to play this game. I'm Charles in charge. You may be king. I'm Charles in charge. And what I say goes. And therefore, either you do it my way or you have the ability to go and do it somewhere else. And I manage people up, Kenneth. I let them know you are good enough to get a job somewhere else. This just isn't the right fit for you.
With that said, Ms. Golden, I appreciate, the insight. And what I want from you is if you could say anything to, the listeners about mental health and going back to their teams with anything that can help them, what would you say?
I would say mental health is having good mental health is important. We all have a form of bad mental health. Go back to your teams. And one thing you can maybe do is give them an assignment. The assignment is you have 2 weeks to write down the good things you see in working here and the bad things you see in working here. And where do you fit? And bring that back to me. And we're going to sit down and see. Good and bad, we're going to balance it out. And we're going to see, do you fit? Because that way they get to look at themselves. And as I tell them, don't look at nobody else. Don't look at what Kenneth is doing. Look at where do you fit in this team? Do you fit on this team? I have changed some people, Kenneth, to other shifts because the shift that they're on, they don't gel. You never gonna gel, so I gotta move you to another shift. Bring somebody over because we want to have peace. Above all, I want peace in my department. I said as I started, I work in a faith-based organization, which allows us to pray however we want to pray. And my team, we're of different religions and denominations. And the one thing we come together on is every day they want to have that prayer. And within the prayer, I don't care if you're Kabbalah, Muslim, Catholic, whatever you are, within the prayer, I ask for a stress-free sterile processing, a peaceful sterile processing, a sterile processing department where we can laugh, smile, have joy, be happy, and have clarity of mind and hand as we take care of the instruments for our patients, because at the end of the day, our patients matter, and that's why we're here. And I have a department that even though we got little mental issues going on, we work together pretty well.
I love it. I thank you. I thank you. I thank you. Hey, everybody, I give you Miss Sharon Greene Golden. The message was very, very clear. Take that back to your teams. Mental health. There's nowhere around it. There's nowhere around it. Look for those signs. Don't be afraid to have those conversations. Be an advocate for your teams. As she said, we're not there to be the solution. We're there to recognize that they need help, point them in the right directions. If you're not okay, you can't be okay for them.
That's right.
And don't be afraid to be in front of your team and say, hey, I'm not okay, so that they can be okay to say I'm not okay. Again, this has been Time to Talk. Hey, it's been Time to Talk. Next week, hey, we're going to be talking to Siri Source, and we're going to be talking about certification, being subject matter experts. We're going to get to the thicker things of how you can be more involved with HSPA, be a subject matter expert. Hey, be on those teams, become a part of the certification council. We're going to bring her live and direct to Time to Talk so we can get you more involved. Hey, everybody, next week, same time. Let's do it. It's been a Time to Talk. Thank you, everybody. Thank you, Ms. Greene Golden. Bye.